Good morning. This is the time that was noticed and posted for the regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors. It's Tuesday, June the 4th, 2024, at 10 o'clock a.m. We're in the Board of Supervisors hearing room, Melody Lane, Bisbee. Pursuant to ARS 38-431.02H, the public will have physical access to the meeting place 15 minutes prior to the start of the meeting. Any item on this agenda is open for discussion and possible action. And would you stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. The order or deletion of any item on this agenda is subject to modification at the meeting, and the board may vote to go to recess into an executive session for the purpose of obtaining legal advice from the board's attorney on any matter listed on the agenda pursuant to ARS 38-431.03A3. We begin with the roll call. District 1?
Crosby is here.
District 2, Supervisor English is present. District 3?
Supervisor Judd is here.
We have a complete board this morning. Members of the public may attend this meeting by Microsoft Teams computer or mobile app, or by phone by calling 602-609-7513 or 888-680-6714. Conference ID 101-786-218 #. If you have trouble accessing this meeting remotely, call 520-432-9200 for direction. The board may permit public comment during the discussion of any item on this agenda. To speak on an agenda item or to call to the public, complete and return the speaker request form to the clerk of the board by 9 o'clock a.m. on the day of the meeting. Note that some attachments may be updated after the agenda is published, and this means that some presentation materials displayed at the board meeting may differ slightly from the attached version. We begin with the call to the public, and I have only one on Teams. Tricia Giradette. Are you there, Tricia?
Yes, I am. Thank you. Good morning, supervisors. I checked my calendar and it's 8 weeks to the primary. I look forward to requesting my ballot to be able to vote by mail. Voting by mail is convenient for me, safe and secure, and means no standing in line during the heat of July. I'm not registered with a party, so here's a public service announcement. I get to request the party ballot I want to vote. If you are also no party, please join me in requesting a ballot and participating in the primary. But I'm speaking today to address the results of the July 30th election. Of particular relevance to this body will be the Republican primary for Board of Supervisor District 1. Supervisor Crosby has a challenger. Will Supervisor Crosby accept the results of the election if he loses? Will he certify those results? Or can he only lose if the election is rigged? Thank you.
Okay, now we have the consent agenda, and it's items 1 through 4. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda of items number 1 through 4.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, and it's unanimous and approved. We now move to the public hearing process, and item number 5. Could I have a motion on the floor before I have the public hearing?
Madam Chair, I move we approve Uniform Video Service License Agreement for Valley Connections LLC effective June 4th, 2024 through June 4th, 2034.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Paul Correa, are you online? Mr. Correa?
Madam Chair, since Paul is not online, I'll present.
Okay, then I will go ahead and open up the public hearing. There doesn't seem to be anyone in the audience who wishes to speak for or against this. I received no notice, but I'll ask again. Okay, go ahead. You have information?
Just that Valley Connections LLC is going to be providing or would like to provide video services within the Cochise County area per the revised statutes back from 2018. Instead of doing franchise agreements, we now do these uniform video service license agreements for all of these type of providers. So Valley Connections has made the application, they've paid the fee. We've done the publication and we're here today for the public hearing and approval. If you have any questions, I believe that the applicant is also on the line.
Okay. Any board member have any questions? Concerns?
Ms. Roberts, would you tell me what was the other category besides franchise that you mentioned just a minute ago?
These video service providers used to apply for franchise agreements with the county, much like the providers of water services and other type of services. Back in 2018, there was a legislation change to make these uniform throughout the state. So now it's a uniform video services license that they apply for.
Okay, so that would be as opposed to being a utility. This is not a utility.
It's not a utility as in it's not providing electric or gas or water, but it's providing video services.
Okay, and with regard to franchise fees, is there something similar to a franchise fee in the video services category?
There is a uniform fee that is mandated in the agreements that is, it is standard for every operator of video services that is licensed in Cochise County.
Okay, so that's a county policy. It's not state law.
No, it is state law.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I just want to say I'm very happy to see that it's Valley Telecom would be the larger organization, and all the familiar names and on that application. It made me feel good. I'm proud of Wilcox again.
Right. Okay, well, I open the public hearing. Like I say, I haven't had anyone request to speak. Ask one more time. I'll close the public hearing. We do have a motion and a second on the floor. Are there any other discussion or comments you want to make before I call for the vote? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, and it's unanimous and approved. The next public hearing is liquor license application. Could I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve Series 12 restaurant new liquor license application submitted by Louis Aviles for Gunny's Barbecue and Event Center, located at 5043 South Highway 92, Sierra Vista, 85650.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any comments before I open the public hearing? Laura?
Madam Chair, members of the board, this item is for a new Series 12 restaurant liquor license submitted for Gunny's Barbecue in Sierra Vista. The application's been reviewed and recommended for approval by the appropriate departments. Property taxes for the parcel are current. The notice and application were posted as required by state law, and no formal protests were received. The applicant has paid the $100 processing fee, and board staff is recommending approval.
Okay, I will open the public hearing now. I haven't had any requests to speak on this. I know that Gunny's Barbecue is represented here today. Do you wish to say anything or just keep quiet? No comments, then I will close the public hearing. And we do have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other comments before I call for the vote? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, and it's unanimous and approved. So we'll send it on to the state. That'll be the next step, okay? All right, item number 7, which is also a public hearing. Could I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, I move we approve Series 09 liquor store new liquor license application submitted by Kevin Arnold Kramer for Cactus Spirits and Fine Tobacco located at 4273 South Highway 92, Sierra Vista 85650.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. You want to give us some information, Laura, and then I'll open the public hearing.
Okay, Madam Chair, members of the board, this item is for a new Series 9 liquor store license application submitted for Cactus Spirits and Fine Tobacco in Sierra Vista. The application has been reviewed and recommended for approval by the appropriate departments. Property taxes on the parcel are current. The notice and application were posted as required by state law and no formal protests were received. The applicant has paid the processing fee and board staff is recommending approval.
Okay. Any comments before I open the public hearing? Hearing none, I'll open the public hearing on the Series 9 liquor license. I haven't any requests from any department to speak on this or person. I'll close the public hearing, and I do have a motion and a second. Any other comments before I call for the vote? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Chair votes aye, and it's unanimous and approved. Now we move to the action items. The first one is from the Sheriff's Department. Oh, Mr. Gijanto is coming up. Could I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve agreement between the state of Arizona through its Department of Public Safety and Cochise County, specifically Cochise County Sheriff's Office, and the amount of $537,901 effective July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, retroactive upon signing to enhance law enforcement services and programs that reduce human trafficking within the state and Cochise County.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Would you explain to us why we're being retroactive on this?
The state of Arizona provided this grant opportunity to us very late in the game, definitely very late in the fiscal year. So I think that was done in recognition that the window is closing rapidly to be able to approve and utilize the grant. So, and when I communicated with the state, they're fully aware that they were kind of pushing the envelope on getting this money out and available. They even said that many counties may not be able to utilize it in time. So they're trying to give us an opportunity. However, I will say we did ask them to extend the grant period, and for whatever reason, they were unable to do that. So luckily for us, we're working with some great county departments. The grants department, procurement, and finance have been really working with us to try to be able to use the money available here for things that the sheriff's office truly needs. And from somebody who's trying to make this happen, it's very frustrating because this is a great grant. It doesn't have any strings attached to it. It doesn't have any matching funds. I wish we would have been able to start on it earlier.
It has a short timeline.
It has a very short timeline. So some of the things that are going to help us to hopefully get what we need, things like Celebrate and Gray Key are sole source items on contract. So we should be able to get them. A lot of the stuff we're asking for is software. So once the PO is cut and it's approved, we should be able to get it paid for and activated by the end of the month. We've also worked with the other vendors. We've been communicating with them, and they promised as much as they can that they will be able to get the products to us by the June 30th deadline. So all the items that are in here are necessary. We've got training, digital forensic. There is some hardware, computers, hard drives, things like that. But again, we can get them by the end of the month. I'm not going to lie, it's going to be a challenge. Everybody's going to have to be on their A game and not dawdle. But we should be able to get everything. Any questions on the specifics that are in our request?
I just thought for the benefit of the public, they should understand that it's June 30th, 2024 is a hard deadline, and
It is.
you not only have to request, but you have to receive by that time.
Correct. And that's why we're asking for a lot of software, because all we have to do is get them the money, and then they say your account's active, and then that fulfills the requirement of the grant and the county with receiving the products. The other frustrating part for me is many of the items in here really are critical to our investigations. And if I can't get them on this grant, then I'm going to be turning over rocks in August for the next fiscal year to try to find money to buy the exact same stuff we're rushing to purchase by the end of this month. So I'm really hopeful that we can get it across the finish line, if not everything, most of it.
Any other questions or comments from board members?
I have a comment, which is to restate my platform once again, that my platform is to prevent illegal entry of persons in contraband, to decrease the costs of incarcerating, medicating, and educating illegal aliens, and perpetuating court costs and related safety problems. Thank you very much.
Okay, any other comments, questions? We do have.
I think you should hurry back to your office.
Trust me, phone calls are going to be made. Like,
We have a motion and a second. If there's no further comments, then I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Chair votes aye, and it's unanimous and so ordered. Thank you, Sean.
thank you.
The next one is from Development Services. Could I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, I move we approve an addendum to the intergovernmental agreement, IGA, between the City of Douglas and Cochise County for planning and zoning subdivision development and long-range planning services, and increasing the fee the county charges the City of Douglas from $75 to $95 an hour, I should say $75 to $95 an hour, effective upon signing by all parties.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Coxworth.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. We're increasing our fee to charge the City of Douglas for planning services through the IGA, basically just to ensure that we're covering our costs.
Well, I think that was an important statement. If there's any public that's listening, when we set these rates, it always is just to cover our cost. So the public needs to understand that we're not creating a company that's making money, but we're simply providing a service and trying to cover the cost of that.
Correct. And City of Douglas has agreed to the rate increase as well.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
None.
Hearing none, then I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Chair votes aye, and it's unanimous and so ordered. Next, Health and Social Services. Ms. Johnson, could I have a motion while she's coming up?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve National Environmental Health Association, U.S. Food and Drug Administration, NEHA FDA Retail Flexible Funding Model Grant Program Award G-BDEV2-202310-04899 with the Cochise Health and Social Services Environmental Health Division for work on FDA standards 2, 4, and 9 and staff training in the amount of $17,500, effective January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Johnson?
The board. This is a grant that we apply for every year, and we have for the last 4, and it really helps us with the training and sending our inspectors, whether it's to the NEHA conference to get CEUs or to the AFTO conference this year also for CEUs. It's also going to help us become standardized, which is what Standard 2 is, to help us put a standardized training program in place for onboarding of new employees for doing inspections, as well as continue our risk factor study that we started last year, which focuses on the 5 foodborne illnesses that we could see either at restaurants or things like that. So we're just hoping again for approval for the same type of grant that we received last year.
Any other questions or comments?
Ms. Johnson, I think you mentioned an acronym that was CEUs. What is that?
Continuing education units that we are required to have to keep our registered sanitarian license active in the state of Arizona.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Tony?
No, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor. If there's no further comments, then I will call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye and it's unanimous and approved. So you can send people to get smarter in all of these standards. Item number 11, Health and Social Services, Suzanne Hagel. While you're coming up, could I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, I move we approve intergovernmental agreement IGA CTR 070113 CDC overdose data to action OD2A between the Arizona Department of Health Services and Cochise Health and Social Services in the amount of $80,000 effective September 1st, 2023 through September 31st, 2024.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ms. Hagel?
Good morning, Madam Chair, Supervisors Judd and Crosby. This morning, I'm here requesting approval of the overdose prevention grant. In the past, this grant had been combined with the state opioid response IGA that was recently approved on May 21st, just a couple weeks ago. ADHS has decided to split the two grants out. The funds from this grant goes towards prevention education, increasing naloxone distribution, and providing trainings to the community. Just in 2023, we were able to distribute just over 8,300 Narcan doses across the county. We also provided education to 600 community members. And the places that we distributed Narcan and provided these trainings were schools, churches, hospitals, EMS, Cochise College, fire departments, and other local businesses. So today I'm here requesting approval to continue the education and naloxone distribution.
Is there one specific person that's hired to this grant?
Yes, this grant, we receive $80,000 a year, and we fund one full-time person to do this work.
Any other questions or comments from the board?
Yeah, I was wondering if you had studied up on the coming trend of something that's the slang term is tranq, for tranquilizer mixed with fentanyl.
I have not personally. I'm sure that the full-time employee that we have on here, I know that she's very well knowledgeable on these services, but if you had some specific questions, I could get with her.
Okay, that would be fine. And the point is that the Narcan doesn't work on that combination.
Correct.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Yeah, I do have a motion and a second, so if there's no further comments, then I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Chair votes aye, and it's unanimous and approved. Thank you, Suzanne. Okay, we didn't have a legislative meeting this week because the legislature is kind of not doing much except behind doors working on their budget, I guess. So I have nothing to report there. Mr. Karwachka, do you have a report for the county?
I do not.
Mr. Crosby?
I'll pass.
Current events in District 1, District 2 passes, District 3, Ms. Jones.
Yes. Believe it or not.
I can't believe that there's not something going on.
You know. Well, we had an event the weekend before and
Right.
last weekend, but there's
You got a free weekend.
yeah, 4th of July, and we all have that.
Yeah. No wine tasting this weekend. Okay, well then our next meeting will be Tuesday, June the 11th at 10 a.m. in the Board of Supervisors hearing room for a special meeting regarding the adoption of the tentative budget. Having said that, this meeting is adjourned.